Welcome, Samuel, to the Human Endurance Podcast. Today we do it in person. We're super excited to talk to you and have you on today.
Yeah, thank you for the invitation. I'm excited to talk to you as well.
So, you are 23 years old, you're from Switzerland, and you're a medical student. And most importantly, you just became the age group world champion in the 70.3 Ironman distance, which is quite a combination. Could you introduce yourself to the listeners a bit more beyond that?
Um, yeah, so I'm currently a triathlete competing in the middle distance, also aspiring to make the step up to the long distance. And at the same time, I'm balancing my triathlon career with medical school, currently in my fifth year, which is it's challenging, but I thought it's always been doable, and actually got one more year to go, and then I'll see where my life takes me from there on, if it's triathlon or medicine.
That's very impressive, first of all, that you do both. How come did you choose this path? Were you ever considering to just do one or the other?
I've always been very a sports person. I love doing sports. In my child, I've always been very hyperactive and tried every different kind of sports. And then ultimately, I got into swimming, and I focused on doing that, and I improved year by year. And then when I was 18, I also finished with high school. And then I had to decide, yeah, where do I go from here on? Do I try to pursue a professional swimming career, which was, I was at a good level, but not where I probably needed to be to really commit my life to it and go for swimming full time. And so I've always been very interested in science and medicine, how the body works, especially like doing as a sports person. I always ask my question, what is going on in my body? How do I react to this training? What kind of training stimulus leads to which adaptation, and what happens when I'm sick and all that? And so I was very curious about the human body. And so I thought studying medicine would be a good fit. And yeah, so then I decided medicine is what I want to do, and that was always my biggest priority. So I kind of put swimming aside, but I didn't want to leave uh, sports behind me, because I mean it's always been a big part of my life, and I couldn't do without it. And so triathlon was always something I wanted to try out. And so yeah, I started off with triathlon, which was a big step for me. I especially like telling my parents I don't want to do swimming anymore. I want to commit to triathlon, especially since I was on a good path in my swimming career. So yeah, ultimately I told them, and they were very supportive. And then I started triathlon, but without having dreams or goals of being world class or pursuing a professional career. But I was always, when I do something, especially in sports, and I go all in, I don't like hold back. So I still took it very seriously, my training. And yeah, I started off in short course because I heard that's what you do. Um, it was very tough balancing it with medical school, especially in the first 2 years or the second year. And then, yeah, I did short course triathlon 3 years, but it
So like sprint and all that.
exactly, short distance is a sprint and Olympic distance, but there were also other formats like super sprint or like double super sprint. I forgot what it's called, but like where you do two super sprints back to back. Those kind of formats, like in Switzerland, there's this league called National League, and that was like my main goal. You had like 4 or 5 races per season, and that's what I trained for. But it wasn't really. I mean, I was okay, but like nowhere near where I would want to be. So I wasn't on the podium or so, and that's what I strive for, like to win in podium races. So after 3 years, I decided it's not for me, because I'm just not like the. I don't have such an explosive profile. I noticed when I did like sessions like longer and steady, that I could perform a lot better. Like my power profile was very flat, if we want to get technical. And So I thought I would give middle distance a shot, and I definitely don't regret it.
But I want to go back a bit to the beginnings in triathlon, because you came from obviously very good swimming background, even thinking about going professional there, and then you started with two new sports or two new parts in this sport that you were not that on that the same level. How was that in the beginning to start with two new sports?
So when I started triathlon, or when I decided to get into it, I was very naive, and I saw like I looked at the swimming times that people were doing in triathlon, like also comparing it with professional triathletes. I was like, it's not that fast actually. I can hold up with them, or I can actually swim faster. And so I thought, yeah, I'm not going to swim much anymore. So I swam like once or twice per week. And then I put my whole focus in cycling and running. And initially, I planned all my training by myself. I bought this triathlon training Bible, and I studied it and did my own training plan. And
This book to me.
oh, really? Yeah, from Joe Prio. I think it's quite a popular book. Yeah, exactly. I studied it, and I made my own training plan, and I stay very strict. I followed that for like over the winter, so like 3-4 months I did that, and very quickly I noticed my swimming fitness, or my swimming times, like declined very rapidly, and that was a bit annoying. And yeah, but obviously my cycling and running fitness improved dramatically. And then in the spring, when I started off, so after a couple of months of training by my own, I joined a triathlon club, and then I started training with a group there. And from there on, yeah, I just trained with the group, and swimming was never really came back to the level where I used to be, which is kind of frustrating. Slowly getting back there, but like even after 4 years, nowhere near I used to be. But I very quickly I noticed that cycling is also a big strength. I yeah, improved quite well on that.
Out of curiosity, what were your swimming times back then and what are they now?
I mean, I think my strengths in swimming were also on the endurance side. So 1500 meters and 400 meters, which is not very long compared to triathlon, but like I always swam short course. I also swam long course, but like I trained in short course, so my times are in short course. So on 400 3:58, and 1500 I think 16:18 or something. And then the 5K I think was my best result. Like in Switzerland we have like this 5K pool, Swiss champs, and that was in a 50-meter pool where I had 58 flat, and that's like a 109 average pace for 100 meters per 100 meter. So and now I can't
That's
swim those
crazy.
times anymore. I mean, in getting there, but like,
Wow, that's really insane those times. And how was also the transition from pool to open water?
well, funnily enough, when I saw in my last year of swimming, I actually got into the national team of the into the open water national team, but without ever even competing in an open water competition. That was just based on my time in the 5K. But then COVID came, and we weren't able to compete in any open water races, which was a shame. So really, triathlon was my first encounter with open water. And swimming in the open water wasn't. I mean, it felt fine for me, but the real shock for me in triathlon was like, especially in short course, how aggressive everybody was at the start. So like all the races I did was a mass start, and especially with all these young kids, young male adults. I mean, there's a lot going on at the start, and there's a lot of kicking and pushing and pulling people underwater just to get to the front, and that was a huge shock. And I needed some races till I got used to that. But I think now I would call that a strength of mine, that I can really
Cope with that or push people down?
no, I don't do it myself. I would say I'm a fair athlete, but like I can show my dominance in the water just by the nature that I'm a bit of a bigger athlete than other triathletes. Yeah, I think it was just a mindset shift that I had to do. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, because you have your own lane when you swim in a competition, right? Versus
Exactly.
having somebody next to you and
Quite different.
yeah, not afraid to touch you. Cool. And then let's go a bit further in your journey. Then you were doing short course, and then you went into middle distance triathlon. How was the switch for you? And when did this happen? During, I guess that was already during your studies, right? When you were doing that switch.
Exactly. Yeah. So the switch didn't come easy for me. I mean, I already thought about it going to middle distance a year before, just because I wasn't enjoying short distance as much. But the thing that held me back is the financial aspect of switching to middle distance. I mean, it comes with a lot of costs. I mean, getting a triathlon bike, an aero helmet, a new triathlon suit, and then obviously all the nutrition you need doing training and
Adds up.
competition. Yeah, it adds up, and it's a lot more than in short course. Like, so I was kind of scared to like tell them, my parents, yeah, I want to do a switch again, and it's gonna cost a lot. I mean, not that I'm telling my parents they need to support me in this. My parents have always been very supportive. Despite doesn't matter which path I choose, but I didn't want to put that like load on their shoulders, and so I was kind of hesitating to tell it to them, because I mean, I wasn't in the position that I could finance all of this huge change. And I mean, yeah, obviously you can say you're also going to do a middle distance in a road bike with a normal road helmet, and I could have done it with all the gear. I've done it. I've done short course, but it's different. I mean, I have very big ambitions, and I always go all in. So I also said, if I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do it properly, and I really want to get everything, I really want to max out my potential.
But did you then, from the beginning, because even within getting a TT bike, right, there is a beginner TT bike that you can buy versus there is the, top machine you can buy. So there's a big price difference too. Did you already go into, the upper limit of things you can spend, or were you kind of gradually increasing in your material?
Yeah, I went pretty all in from the start. But I was also very fortunate that that I had some connections, and I was able to get my my equipment at a very reduced price. So I would have never been able, or I would have never told my parents, yeah, I want this bike, if it would have cost this much. But then, yeah, also my parents wanted the best for me, especially my dad. He's a bike geek himself, and so he takes a lot of joy in yeah, in like cycling stuff, and also gifting me these bikes. But yeah, to really get some kind of financial aid, I also started a crowdfunding project and was able to get some money through that. But yeah, I really owe my parents a lot of a big thank you, because they're so supportive, like in every aspect, not only in the financial way, but also emotional. Also, they've been at every competition this season and have really taken a lot of stress off my shoulders, with travel and all the logistics and stuff.
Preparation and everything, yeah.
Let's talk about 2025. This amazing year for you. You won world championships. You became also Swiss champion, right? First of all, did you expect this level of success?
Well, if you would have asked me a year ago, then definitely no. But I quickly noticed in my build-up, like in winter, spring, at the beginning of 2025, that it was going very well, and I made a huge jump in fitness and performance. And so I quickly noticed an opportunity, which was going to be my first middle distance race of the season, that it could be something very special for me. So I was going into the upper three with the expectation of being able to win the race, which I did, and actually doing it was something very different, and it was so overwhelming, especially since in the upper three there wasn't a professional category. I was the first age grouper to cross the line. Yeah, that was
First
it.
person, yeah.
Exactly. And that
Yeah.
was all the attention was on me, and that finish shoot was like something I've never experienced before. Like all the whole crowd shouting at me and me being able to take the tape, that was something so special. I think that was it's gonna stay probably is still gonna be one of the most special races. Doesn't matter which race I do in the future. Just because like it showed me and also all the people that supported me, my family and friends, that this was the right decision and it's going in the right direction. And yeah, from there on, I just progressed.
Amazing. And I guess it also gave you a little bit of a taste of how it's going to be being a professional, getting the tape and, having the bike in front of you riding with the number one athlete.
Yeah, it was very cool being in the lead there and also having like, the lead motorbike in front of you or behind you. And that was a very special day for me. And I also was also able to experience that like leading position in most of my other races, except for the world championship now in Marbella due to later start time. But yeah, I'm excited what my professional career holds for me.
Yeah, I just wanted to jump to Marbella because that was now 1.5 weeks ago that you won overall again, and this is again insane for such a big success so quickly, and obviously it's well earned, and also you coming from your swimming background, having an athletic profile. But how was this race for you? You mentioned you started late, 2 hours after the first age grouper, so you didn't have this feeling of you're actually leading the race because you had to overtake people. But can you walk us through the race, how it went?
Yeah, I actually found out that my starting time, also so my age group starting time was the second last age group to start, so almost 2 hours later than the first age grouper. So I really knew already from the beginning that I'm gonna be overtaking athletes my whole race. So it's gonna be a very different experience, and I can take you through the race. So the swim, it was just like it wasn't what I was used to, because like usually I'm always in front, and now I just had to overtake athlete by athlete. It was just one big washing machine, and I couldn't sight properly because people were everywhere, and it was a bit choppy. I mean, not crazy, but like that also played a bit of a factor. But in the end, the swim time was okay. Actually faster than I thought. Then it felt like I didn't feel very good in the water, and yeah, overtaking people and going a bit of zigzag because I can sight properly was a bit of a challenge. But I got that behind me, and then in the first transition, I had trouble finding my T1 bag, and then I also had trouble finding my bike,
Oh, no.
which cost me some time. I at least 1 minute, but
Yeah, and transitions are already long for age groupers compared to the pros.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, the transition is was a bit big. It was bigger than any race I've ever had. That's why maybe I didn't do my homework good enough the day before when I checked in my bike where exactly my bike is. But I mean, that's just like little things that like kind of get into your head, but like you just have to get over it and move on to the next. And the bike was fine. I felt very good until the end. I felt strong, and it was the best bike performance I've done in a middle distance race.
Even though the elevation.
Yeah, I mean, not the fastest, but like if I look at my numbers, it was the best, and also how I felt. So my normalized power was I think 349, and my average 332 or something like that. And that's like 15 or 20 watts more than I did in upper speed, which is quite a big jump. And I'm also confident that I can still improve those. Yeah, but the main problem with the bike was more that the traffic that was going on. I mean, the roads were wide, but there were so many athletes, and not all athletes were riding on the right. So sometimes you had to like slow down a bit, but I wouldn't say it cost me a very large amount of time. I mean, yeah, that's just how it was.
And then the run.
The run, the plan was to run a bit conservative because I didn't know how my run fitness was, and
Why didn't you know?
because I had a bike accident 2 weeks before the race,
Oh no.
and then yeah, like I wouldn't say it cost me a lot of fitness. I mean, I wasn't able to train a lot for like 5-6 days, like very minimally. Uh, I mostly did bike training on indoor training on the bike because I injured my elbow, so that was no problem indoors. But like swimming and running was a bit hard with an injured elbow. But it was more like the mental aspect. Like I didn't have any good run sessions or run trainings going in after the bike accident going into Marbella. So I wasn't very confident. So I just said I would go at a moderate pace or hold a bit back. But as I started running, I quickly noticed this. I mean, I was running the expected pace, but it didn't feel like I was holding back. It felt a bit harder than it should. And after 15K, I noticed now it's really getting very hard. And after the last 2Ks were a real struggle. If anybody saw my Instagram stories, or I was like just I was barely on my feet. I almost collapsing before the finish line, so I was just stumbling all the last 2 kilometers.
Wow, it was for 2K. You felt
Yeah.
like that.
But I think I don't think there was because I was running too fast in the beginning. On the bike, I lost a bottle that had quite a lot of nutrition, and I didn't have enough reserves, carbs on reserves to get in the nutrition I planned, and I really was I needed that nutrition, especially since I was pushing quite some more power than I usually do. So I noticed that on the back end of the half marathon. Yeah,
Wow, and what did you end up running in the end?
I had like it was a 1:17 something, so it was 3:40 pace. My plan. I knew I'm capable of running a 1:14, so that's the 30. I mean, yeah, it wasn't what I was hoping for, but in the end, I won, and I guess that's the only thing that really counts.
And did you
have mattered.
Yeah.
did you know that you are winning? Because again, you were not leading as you would normally do in a race when you start in front of the age group. There were people around you. So how did you know that the gaps behind you for the second person?
My family after the bike, or my mom after the bike, screamed to me, I'm leading. I'm leading the race," which doesn't feel like I'm leading, you know. And then there are a lot of people in front, but yeah, she said I'm in first place, and then came out of T2 and said again, yeah, I'm leading. And a few kilometers into the race, she said the same thing. And then really after one lap, I already was struggling and I couldn't really take in any information anymore. I just heard screaming, and that's really it. So I had no clue in which position I was, and I knew there are quite some age groupers that were a lot faster than me. I mean, yeah, quite some age groupers were actually overtaking me. I mean, like I think there were at least there were probably like 20 age groupers that had a faster run split than me. So I saw the whole time I'm losing my first place. Yeah, I was kind of in a bad headspace at that moment. But like the last 5 kilometers when it got really hard, I wasn't thinking about myself or the win. I was just thinking about really giving it my all, especially for my family. That like everybody came to support me there, and all the messages I got before the race, it was very overwhelming, and so many people had my back. So I was just thinking about them. Yeah, and that really got me through the last few kilometers.
Amazing. And normally they put on a tape, right, for the first person, but there was no tape.
Yeah, I don't know if they do that for age groupers actually. I they only do it for pros. Maybe sometimes they do it for age groupers. Um, but like, I mean, in the end, it's hard because it's not a mass star. So, I mean, maybe somebody takes a tape, but it's still not first place. Um, but yeah, I don't think I was. I wouldn't have seen the tape anyways because I had my head down. I just stumbled over the finish line, and from there on, I don't really remember much. But I ended up in the medical tent.
And when you crossed the finish line, did you know you won at that moment, or was it after the medical tent?
That was actually the worst part. I had to wait like 40 minutes until I realized that I actually won the race. So
Wow.
yeah, I was in the medical tent and I wanted to get out as fast as possible again. And so I searched my family everywhere and I didn't find them. I mean, there were so many people, and some point I just gave up, sat at the side of the road, and because I was also very nauseous, didn't feel like moving anymore. And then some other Swiss people came up to me and congratulated me, and I was like, congratulations for what? I don't know what place I got. And then, yeah, they told me I actually won. And first I didn't want to believe them because I really thought I lost the win the last few kilometers. But then they say, no, you won by 2 minute gap to the second place. And yeah, I just broke out in tears at that point, and it was very emotional for me actually pulling it off. I mean, I knew I was capable of actually doing it, but yeah, to pull it off felt very surreal. Yeah, definitely.
Switching gears a little bit, so I think you already mentioned, right, that you're taller than the average athlete. You mentioned, oh, I can, kind of take my space in the swim. Do you feel that your height is an advantage or disadvantage for the other disciplines? Doesn't matter at all?
Maybe the swimming, it's advantageous if you're a bit bigger, but other than that, yeah, on the bike, I would say maybe I can't really tell. Obviously, since on the bike, if the course is a bit flatter or more rolling hills, that is definitely more my type of bike course. I wouldn't say Marbella was a perfect fit for me due to all the climbing. My power to weight ratio isn't the best compared to other athletes. Yeah, on the run, I can't really tell. My legs are not very long. I would say my torso is longer.
Typical swimmer.
Yeah, exactly. I would say my body is more made for swimming than for running.
Nice, but I mean, you're still pretty fast, and I mean, you're probably gonna improve even more over the coming years.
Yes, definitely. I think in the run, I still have the most potential to gain there. So that's my focus.
And could you share a bit more about how your training looks like, and also who you work with? If you have a coach, or if you're still following the triathlon training Bible? How does it typically look like, especially as a medical student? You're still at university. How do you manage to get this training in? Because you must train at least 20 hours per week.
So my coach is a former professional triathlete in the short course scene. His name is Lars Hollenbecker. He's still very young. He had to stop his professional career due to some health issues. But he's not really a coach. I just once asked him when I was looking for a private coach. I asked him if he was willing to coach me, and he said yes. And we've been working now since 2 years. And the reason why I was looking for a private coach before I was, as I said, I was in this triathlon club, was because of medical school. Like after the second year, I noticed it was just too much, that I had to stick to training times, and to also always go by train to training, and then late in the evening, and then wake up early again. I thought it was I needed to make a switch to a private coach so I can do the training more flexibly. So yeah, when I had time. So 2 years ago we started working together, and it's worked very good. I just give him my time when I'm available, and he just adjusts accordingly. But I must say, here in Zurich, it's very dependent on the medical school, but we don't have so many courses or classes that we have to attend to. It's just more, we have a lot of things. We just have to learn. We have to study on our own a lot, and that's where like my discipline comes in very handy. I mean, if you're very good at like studying on your own and showing initiative, then um, medicine works very well. And would you like to know more about like the training itself, or?
Yeah, I would love to hear a bit like maybe now for the build up to Marbella, how like in the peak phase, like how would a typical training week look like, and how did you manage that with school?
Okay, yeah. So my coach had even though he's very young, he had a lot of different coaches himself and takes inputs from all the experience he's had. But one thing that I noticed is his training input or the similarity to Brett Sutton training. So most of the training is more based on like RPE. We're not very science based. Yeah, it's more like consistent hard training, and that's really what got me through. And I'm not at a point where I train 30 to 35 hours a week, so I don't have to control everything. I train about 20 to 24 hours in a good week. And so it's fine if I sometimes push a little harder than the training is prescribed, as long as I can recover for it. And yet, specifically now in the build up to Marbella, we had usually the weeks always had a different structure just due to my medical school being different from week to week. But now towards Marbella, we really want to stick to one weekly program. And so Monday was it was usually an easy day, so like an hour 30 to 2 hour bike, and then a gym session and an easy swim. And then Tuesday would be a longer race specific run, so anything between 20 and 25K worth of some faster intervals, not a race pace, but like faster. So anything ranging from 3 to 5 minute interval. So it could be like 12 times 3 minutes, just hard. Usually, yeah, that would maybe be for me like 3:10 to 3:15, and then 1 minute easy. That's just one example.
Yeah.
And then the recovery bike. Yeah.
And what about your classes in the middle of that?
Yeah, I just do my training when I don't have any classes. So the lectures are usually always in the morning, and I never attended those like live. I just watched them online on my own, like on double the speed, and that it was it's a lot more time efficient for me. And then usually we had like our classes or our in the hospitals that usually weren't too long, like an hour or two in the afternoon. And yeah, I usually just did my important training in the morning, and then like if usually it was just an easy session in the afternoon or so, or in the evening. So like time wise, it was in the build up to Marbella, I could really focus on the training.
Nice. And I think you stopped in Wednesday, so you were at your run session.
Yeah, exactly. So that was Tuesday run session, and then ET a recovery bike for an hour. And then Wednesday was always my double bike session, that's really where I got the most out of my bike fitness. I really found out that worked for me. I also did that in the build up to Rapperswil. So in the morning I did like some big gear work on the bike. That could be like 8 times 5 minutes, like at 50 to 55 RPM. And then I did like a swim session, which was like semi-hard. And then in the afternoon, I did my second bike session, which was usually like a build. That could be like 30 minutes moderate, 30 minutes medium, and 30 minutes mad. Mad means like basically all out.
Right.
It's really like Brett Sutton.
Yeah, it's very Brett Sutton's typical. So if anybody has ever heard of Brett Sutton sessions, that's exactly how it looks like. And it was as I said, it was just like, it was really hard, but like I got so much out of it that it's really what got me going week by week, because I noticed I'm improving every week. And then on Thursday it was like my recovery day. I just had 1 hour zone 2 run, and then on Friday would be I had a threshold swim, so a hard swim, and then a long aerobic bike, like 3 to 3.5 hours. Saturday was easy again, so or like a semi-hard swim and a short easy run, like 40 minutes. And then Sunday was always a big day for me because that was a race-specific brick session, which I also did in the lead up to an Uppersville. And I noticed that's where I really where I really got the most out of my time. And that would always be 2.5 hours bike with different kinds of intervals, usually race specific. So, for example, 3 times 30 minutes. And then I did a runoff, which was also between usually like 17, 18 kilometers. Also usually very hard. Yeah. And I pulled that off for 5 weeks.
Yeah.
It wasn't, I wouldn't say it's very, for me, it wasn't, I couldn't have pulled this off for like a whole season, but like for 5 weeks, it was just that what I needed. I mean, the build got cut short to 4 weeks because I had the accident. But yeah, I did make some fitness gains, and I think I know what works for me now. Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds pretty intense, but it worked.
Yeah, and I think double, just sorry quickly, but I think double bike sessions is something that I think is quite interesting. I haven't heard that much that people do double bike sessions.
Yeah, it's not very typical in triathlon, but I think I already started doing them a year ago. But I just noticed when I do double bike sessions in combination with enough bike volume, that like my bike fitness just increased so much so fast. Yeah, but I mean, yeah, you have to be careful. If you can't really regenerate from these trainings properly, then obviously it's not gonna get you any fitness. But I told my coach now I really have time to focus on my training and also recover more. That's why we chose to like really push the limit.
Yeah. And do you think being a medical student, like, do you think you have any insights and advantages, like in terms of knowledge that other athletes might not have?
Just based on my training as a medical student, I wouldn't say I have an advantage, but due to the fact that I'm very curious generally regarding the human body and science, especially sports science, I also read about these topics in my free time, and I try to make myself more knowledgeable. So I think in that aspect, yes, I do have a good understanding, but like not to the level that I could like do my own science-based training. I never could coach myself, but like, yeah, I'm still very, very young in the science literature, but
Do you have any favorite sources of knowledge, some newsletters or some particular researchers? Like, where do you get your information?
I usually just Google them like on PubMed or Google Scholar, and I like to read like case studies, especially on other triathletes. Like there are quite some studies on Christian Blumenfeld or Magnus Ditlev. But other than that, I really I just search in these really PubMed usually, and then I just sometimes read articles when I feel like it.
Cool. So now you won Marbella. Season is, I guess, over for you too. Probably you're starting off season, building towards the next season. What are the plans for next season? We know that you are aiming for a professional career, and then also how does this combine again with your studies in medicine?
So right now I'm off season, and yeah, I'm just gonna take my time now and start my build up again in December. Then next year will be especially tough combining triathlon with my medical school, because starting from January, I'm going to start my clinical rotations, meaning that I'm going to start working full time in the hospital, which obviously is hard to combine, yeah, with training like 24 hours per week. It's still a very, still very unknown to me how how next year is exactly going to look. I'm still exchanging with different people if I can maybe if there's maybe a way I can combine both in a better way. And obviously, as you said, I'm gonna start as a professional triathlete, and I hope all goes well. But I'm not gonna expect that I like qualify for the World Championships next year, especially regarding my work at the hospital. I'm not gonna be able to train as much as I did now, probably. But yeah, I've a couple races in mind. I want to start off next year, but I still have to look at it with my coach.
And beyond next year, long term, if you can already tell that, would you put your career, professional career, or professional medical career on the side for your professional triathlon career if you see that this is going to take off?
Yeah, so I've been thinking about this quite a lot the last few months, and being a professional triathlete was always my childhood dream. But it was always a dream. It was never a goal because I never saw it as very realistic. And now I'm able to start as a professional triathlete, or I will be, and really committing it to this full time is like in reach for me. And if I have the possibility, I really want to go for it. Yeah, obviously only if I move in the right direction. If I notice, I wouldn't see why, but if for some reason it doesn't go my way for the next 2 years, then I will go for the medical route. But like, if I take on a good trajectory and I keep on improving, then I can definitely see myself committing to triathlon full time, at least for some time, and see how that goes.
Exciting. We'll love to follow.
Yeah, is Kona also a dream of yours?
Oh, that's probably the biggest dream now. So I'm not just sticking to middle distance. I definitely want to do full distance. I was actually even thinking about doing next year my first full distance, but that's probably not going to happen just because I don't have the time to train as much. And if I want to do a full distance race, the first one I would want to do would probably be Ironman Switzerland in Thun. And there's no professional category for the men's next year, so in 2027. Yeah, that's why probably just gonna stick to middle distance next season.
It sounds wise. So you can finish up school,
Yeah, exactly.
compete well, and then half distance, and then go full on the full.
Yeah.
So we just talked about it that you're wanting to go pro, and there's obviously also a big range with what it means to be a professional triathlete, right? When you said you want to go all in, but that also comes with getting sponsors because you need the best of the best equipment. You need to go into the wind tunnel, right, to be able to really play with the best athletes in the world. Are you already, like, how does this work? Are you looking for sponsors? Do you approach people? Are people already approaching you? And can you share a bit more about this side of the professional sport?
Yeah, so after this season, I'm definitely looking for sponsors, and there have been like one or two companies that have reached out to me, but like still at my level, you still really have to be proactive yourself. So it's more me on my side that is trying to reach out to other potential sponsors, and I have a few things going on already that I'm hoping to make to fix sponsoring contracts. I mean, obviously, my first goal is to like really get all the equipment I need for my training and my competition that I've sponsors for that, but then also as a financial aid, because at the moment I'm not capable of financing like my own training camps and like long trips abroad to competitions. Yeah, all of these stuff that are really essential if you want to compete with the best of the best.
Yeah, because that's what most right? There's pros that do that. Sometimes they even have a part, like they still work, and they're often you see. I mean, sometimes it can still work, but you still see that there's a big gap to then the ones that win podium big races that really They are in a lot of in training camps. Their life evolves fully around triathlon and their training and recovery, etc. But that comes with obviously the cost of traveling to all those places.
Yeah, and if anybody is listening in and they are curious to get to know you more, maybe sponsor you, support you in any way, what's the best way for them to reach out?
They can, I think probably the best way is maybe to contact me on my Instagram. I usually reply to all the messages I get, and you can also send me an email on samuel.studer@icloud.com. Yeah, and I'm always, as I said, very grateful for people reaching out. And also, if you're a fellow triathlete or so, you can also contact me on my Instagram, and I'm glad to help out. I also want to give something back to the community.
We'll make sure to link that in the show notes. And well, we're getting to the closing of the podcast, and one thing that we always do is ask our guests for advice for others. And what we're gonna ask you today is if you have any advice to give for young triathletes that are trying to balance serious academics like you've been doing with medical school, but also an athletic career with high ambitions. What would you tell them?
So a big part of why I had this success is because I've had the courage to speak up and do what I believe is best for me and what will get me the furthest. And I'm referring here, for example, from switching to swimming to triathlon, and then from short course to middle distance, because I mean, those decisions may not seem very hard for some people, but for me they were very hard, especially because I always want to make everybody happy, and I don't want to disappoint anybody. And I was afraid of disappointing my close friends and my family if I said I'm basically giving up on swimming, or I now need their help to go and just try something new that I don't know if I'm going to be good at, and if these costs are going to really pay dividends. Yeah, that's really what I would like to, one advice that I would like to give to the younger athletes is be courage and listen to your heart. And considering like the academic career, if you want to like go both ways, it's definitely possible. I'm not the only one that has shown this. I mean, the professional triathlete Matthew Marquardt, he's at medical school, and he is really a world-class athlete. I mean, he's competing in the top 10 at the World Championships, and that's very inspiring. And so if people like us can do it, then other people can also do it.
Yeah, I think saying I don't have time is not a good excuse.
I never say I don't have time. I always say it's just a matter of how you set your priorities. And I mean, time management is very important, but setting your priorities is probably even more important.
Nice. Cool. Thank you so much for joining us today. It was really amazing talking to you, and all the best for your career. And I have the feeling that you're going to be super successful in your triathlon career. Thank
you very much. Thanks for the invitation. I also enjoyed the chat with you guys.
Thank you so much for tuning in to Human Endurance. We hope you have enjoyed this episode. If you like the show, don't forget to rate it and hit the subscribe button whatever you're listening to it. This helps us to reach a bigger audience. Thank you, and see you next time.